Today, our book focus is on the book Soul Food by Dr. Kudzanai Vere. Now, he is a man who wears very many hats, and I will let him introduce himself and understand where he's coming from and where he hopes to take us in terms of just how we develop our individual businesses out there. So if you are somebody who is running a small business, running a big business, then this is definitely something you want to pay attention to. Good morning to you. How are you?
Morning, how are you, Candice?
Good. No complaints. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this powerful show.
Love it. Now, just give us a little bit of background into who Dr. Kudzanai Vere is.
Dr. Vere is an internationally acclaimed transformational speaker in the areas of entrepreneurship, personal development, organization development, and financial literacy.
Now, a lot of people will just say, look, it's true, don't go focus on personal development. But you've decided, look, I also want to help people focus on their financial literacy, especially because it's a very important thing. And whether you're in business or you're not, that's something that you do need to have a good grasp on. But also how to just, if you are in business, how to grow those businesses. Why were those areas that you are particularly passionate about?
You'll see to it that the areas I focus on are strategic into making a person of impact. You'll find that if you want to be successful in your business, you need to have developed yourself personally, meaning to say all your faculties as a person should have grown to the level of wanting to start, support, sustain, and succeed in whatever that you do, even in your business.
And incidentally, that is the title of what was that your first book, I think?
Yeah, my first book is Becoming a Person of Impact, using what you call the six-pack approach. Maybe I can just
please, because that was an interesting six-pack approach. Please take us through that.
A rush through of my first book. I started penning it in 2010, and I dropped the idea down, but when we came to 2019, I really, because of the COVID, we had plenty of time to do things that is writing and stuff. I really reconnected with the idea and come up with the six-pack approach to becoming a person of impact. Everyone in life, be in business or at personal level, would want to become a person of impact. Even employers want employees of impact. Even the country want leaders of impact. So it becomes a handy package or training manual for anyone who aspires to become a person of impact. So the six-pack approach starts with the first pack being discovering yourself as a person. If you want to become a person of impact, you need to definitely know where you stand vis-a-vis where you want to go. You might also see to it that on your mobile application or mobile phone, there is the Maps application. You know it. When you want to go to a certain place you are not familiar to, you use that. But the first thing it does now is not pointing you to where you want to go. It starts by locating where you stand. So where you stand now, Candice, is of paramount importance into whatever you want to achieve as an organization or as an individual. So that's the first pack. You are coming up with your strategic planning, your personal life development plan, and your coordinates as to where you stand. The second one is reordering your life now. After having discovered yourself, you put your life in order.
Right.
Putting your life in order is now seeing what do you need in order for you to close the gap between where you stand and where you want to go. If you're lacking a certain skill, you need to enroll for that particular course. If you are lacking in strong networks, you then need to connect with those that are coming from where you are going so that they can tell you all that is you're expecting to see or find along the course. The third one is emerge. So after having reordered your life, don't waste time, emerge, expose your brand into the market. You must be known by what you do, not by the names on our IDs that doesn't bring food on the table. So no one benefits from a maize seed that is chosen to remain underground. It must germinate and bear fruit after its own kind. So you need to really expose who you are at personal level and at business level. The fourth pack is networking. Your network obviously determines your net worth. You are good as a person, but you can only be better through networking. The fifth one is continuous improvement. You are either green and growing or ripe and rotting, no two ways about it. You need to continuously improve. The
Right.
things that you knew some years back, they are now irrelevant now.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't continue solving current and emergent challenges using a century-old solutions.
Absolutely.
You need to be updated and up to date. The sixth one, the sixth peg is transcend. The word transcend literally means going beyond. I normally challenge people to stop using common sense if you want to become a person of impact. Why do I say so? You'll see to it that the word common sense is derived from a Latin word sensui communis, which means ordinary understanding. So
Right.
people of impact, they don't use ordinary understanding. They go beyond ordinary understanding, go beyond common sense, because if you use ordinary understanding, obviously you get an ordinary result. That would not make sense, because you'd be just like anyone else on the street and you get anyone else's share. So people of impact, they, because of the continuous improvement aspect, they go beyond common sense.
Right. So that's
So
very interesting.
basically that's the six-pack approach to becoming a person of impact.
Right, that's very interesting. I want to take you back to stage 2. Is that also where your prioritizing comes into play?
100% putting order into your perspective. That's planning now. Which step goes first, or which project goes first, which aspect goes first, and your management of time and the resources that you have. Putting yourself, you need to have some modicum of order in order for you to become a person of impact. 100%, you're correct.
So why I come to that is because it also becomes important for you to understand, coming from the first point, of understanding where you stand and
Discovering
who you are,
yourself,
and discovering yourself. But when you now start to prioritize and see what you put first, sometimes we get stuck in that little rut where we think it's a priority, but it's really, there's something that supersedes it. How do you plan through what's important and what isn't, and what feeds into important but can't really be put on its own?
What I normally encourage people is, each and every person, they have their real north. What makes you tick and what is of value, what really matters within your life matrix. For instance, there are certain things that they're time wasters. They don't maximize your energy and effort and returns. So you need to put everything in that matrix to see, okay, of all these that I've come up with, which ones are speaking into the things that I want to do now,
Right.
and which ones then maximizes my return on whatever investment. The investment part of it can not only be monetary, can also be your time and resources.
Let's move now to Soul Food. We've got volume 1 and volume 2. I mean, from the title itself, Soul Food, I'm assuming there's a reason you titled it Soul Food.
Yeah, you see, the soul need to be fed continuously. So what you feed your soul with ultimately determines what you become. So the reason for coming up with Soul Food Volume 1 and Volume 2, I think is the reason that I then said I appeal to personal development and entrepreneurship.
Right.
Soul Food Volume 1 is all about entrepreneurship nuggets or business nuggets that will force people out of their cocoons into becoming people of impact in whatever space that they find themselves in business terms. And Soul Food Volume 2, these are personal development nuggets that will really intrigue someone to really want to exploit the energy that is laden within, so that they can become impactful people in whatever space that they find themselves in. So you see to it that in Soul Food Volume 1, where I have amassed a number of business nuggets, I touch almost every aspect that a successful business person need to know with regards to business. You see to it that a business is almost like a living organism, which has a number of parts without which it cannot survive. So the reason why most organizations fail is because they tend to focus on things that they want to focus more, disregarding all these other things that are also important into making of what we call a business. So that's the first one.
So understandably, these two actually have the potential to feed into each other, don't they?
100%. Like I said, if you want to become impactful in business, you must start by becoming impactful at self. You need to be a developed person so that you can also be able to develop even your organization. Those that fail to then develop and succeed in their organizations, they are not failing for the first time in that front. They also had failed at developing themselves as people. people. You need to become a leader, self-leadership, in order for you to lead even your organization and others.
So I'm going to ask you from both books. So what is your number one go-to advice for somebody who's starting that journey of finding themselves as an individual first before we even get to them finding their feet within their business and growing it?
I think the sequence of my books, like becoming a person of impact first, you need to become a person of impact at a personal level. Then that will then would have opened all your faculties are operationally well. When a motor vehicle, those pistons and stuff, when one piston fails to work, it means the whole performance of the you see. So you need to become a person of impact before you start on a business, because if you start a business while you are deficient in some of the important aspects that builds a person of impact, it's obvious now that you also fail to perform effectively in your organization. Whatever that you do, even when you are employed as an employee, you will not perform very well because you have not discovered yourself, you have not done all the six-pack that I talk about.
Where do we find you, very quickly?
I'm on +263 772 592 232. We have offices in here in Harare and Kadoma. For information, I'm also the Director of Programs at the Institute of Entrepreneurs Zimbabwe, where we are propagating entrepreneurs for socio-economic transformation.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate the insights that you shared with us. And of course, so where do we get the books? Do we get them from the office?
Yeah, at 108 Central Avenue, or in town. We can even deliver them to your doorstep because we don't want to compromise your productive time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sitting down with us this morning. Now, of course, if you are somebody who is looking even just to develop who you are as an individual, then definitely you want to pick up those books from Dr. Vere. And if you want to grow your business, then of course it goes without saying that you follow that path as well.